And welcome to the return of the Friday Night Spot Show. I am Arya, that's Trae, and today we are diving into the WWE Vault with a look at the Jacques Rougeau retirement match and retirement show that they just put up a few days ago. WWE in Montreal, October 21st, 1994. Shockingly enough, in Montreal, Quebec. Before I ask Trey to speak, I'm going to press play on the show because this is a 2 hour and 14-minute show, and well, we'll have time to talk. Let's press play right now. All right. So, Trey, did you watch any of this before we decided to do this?
I did not. So if our listener is American, I'm sure you know that a large winter storm system has hit a large portion of the country. And Aria is in fact snowed in. I think the bad part of the weather missed me here in Houston, at least my part of Houston. But I the roads aren't safe. So the wife and I have been day drinking, and I said to my friend Aria, "Well, I've got a good daytime buzz. Let's do a spot show."
Look at this, snowed in. I would not recommend driving, but like right now, I think we're only at about 3 or 4 inches. So it is not completely snowed in yet.
Hey, it's the Night
For Mass
Stalker.
for Massachusetts, 3 or 4 inches is nothing. We'll just say that. But yeah, right now it's stay the fuck off the streets, people. But yeah, Adam Bomb wearing some a unique color combination. I don't remember wearing this black and peach combination.
I'm pretty sure that's neon. It's just showing up like that in the light. I like it.
Awesome.
It's cool.
He came out before I could make my joke. Hey Trey, what does 260 pounds of Puerto Rican crap sound like when it falls onto the mat?
Quang.
Wang.
Oh, the disrespect to Savio Vega.
I'm gonna have to watch him very shortly wrestle 4 times in one night. Actually, I guess because they never put on the pre-shows on these pay-per-views, so I only have to watch him wrestle 3 times.
Oh, you're
But
getting ready for King of the Ring '95.
I mean, I'm not that close to it. I'm still next up is SummerSlam '94, but yeah, it's gonna be sooner than I think because during the original idea for this, I watched a whole bunch of Royal Rumbles, I watched a whole bunch of WrestleManias, I watched a whole bunch of In Your Houses. So at least those are already taken care of. I just got to do some proofreading on those. But yeah, King of the Ring '95 is sooner than I'd like to think. Who to think that Art O'Donnell would be the highlight of the King of the Rings in this next book? Yeah, we have.
So
Mhm.
this here show is just a couple of months after where you are in your pay-per-views and where we are on the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along project.
Yeah, yeah. Now, 16,843 is the attendance according to Cage Match, which normally I would call a little bit of bullshit on, except Jacques Rougeau was fucking over in Montreal. And we see like, especially like in like when he hit 2099, when he's just promoting spot shows up in Montreal, they draw pretty well. And the fact that he's such a good draw in Montreal that in '97 he somehow convinced Hogan to put him over in a non-title match on a WCW house show. I'm not about
That
Hulk,
was
not Horace either.
Is this the Forum or had they built the new building?
Montreal Forum.
Okay.
This is not the Bell Center. Um, by the way, Brian Clark, future, I think, 3-time WCW Tag Team Champion, maybe 2-time with Brian Adams. Huang,
I
a future never holder of a WWE Championship. Although I
I
imagine he probably won the WWC title 10 or 15 times.
I think that Chronic was only officially WCW Tag Team Champions once. They did win them another time, but then like it got reversed because there wasn't a referee. Fucking dumb Russo bullshit.
No, well, I don't think it was supposed to be a title win because it was against Shane Douglas and Buff Bagwell, but that was at the time when Bagwell got suspended for smacking around a backstage attendant, and so they turned it into an actual title change, I think, because they won it twice. They won it, then they lost it to Palumbo and Stasiak, and then they beat Palumbo and Stasiak for them at the Bash at the Beach.
Did they?
And then they refused to put over Juventud Guerrera and Rey Mysterio, so they had to lose it to Vampiro and the Great Muta at New Blood Rising, so they could then lose to Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera. I like to point out that when Lex Luger refused to do a job, he got sent home. When Hogan was being a dick about doing jobs, he was sent home. When Brian Adams and Brian Clark refused to do a job, Russo's like, "It's okay, bro. We'll just keep pushing you."
At least we got to see the Great Muta do a moonsault and win the WCW tag titles. That was cool.
I was gonna say I don't even remember how they won. I'm not
It was,
looking forward to eventually watching New Blood Rising again.
I think Heavy D and Big Ron interfered, and then yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Muta pinned one of them with a moonsault.
Well, that part I know because you can't have a WCW match or any match under a Vince Russo regime, no matter how pointless it is, without plenty of interference.
Yeah, you're right. They won them twice. I was mistaken.
Well, it's easy to not believe the first one. But this is not a bad match at
No,
all,
this
by
is
the way.
not bad at all. Our old friend the Night Stalker is doing well for himself.
Yeah, he's not getting disqualified for kicking too much ass, at least yet. Now, have you looked up the card for this show? I got the non-spoiler card in front of me. I don't know whether or not to spoil anything we got coming up because obviously the main event is Jacques versus Pierre, the Battle of the Quebecers in the main event.
Yeah, I did.
Um,
I glanced at the card earlier. It's a pretty fun looking card.
it is very much a WWF 1994 house show card.
Yeah.
Apparently, on the YouTube channel, someone purported to be the nephew of one of the wrestlers coming up. Commented that they thanked WWE for posting this because it was the first time they ever got to see this match featuring their uncle.
Well, I can't wait for you to tell me who's nibbling commented on the WWE Vault page.
Yep. Allegedly, I mean, you know, I I don't want to call anyone a liar, and I'm not insinuating this person did lie, but I mean, I'm not sitting here with a a family tree of that family. Yeah, it's funny. Like I don't remember Savio Vega doing this many kicks. And, like he did a lot of kicks, but I don't remember him. Like I think like I don't know. Like maybe I have to rewatch some Savio Vega. But it's like I feel like Savio Vega using Quang's arsenal would have been more interesting than Savio Vega being Savio Vega.
I cannot say for sure, but if this is the first Quang match that I've ever seen, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a pretty big gap in mid '90s WWF that I haven't seen. But I mean, Savio Vega is a good worker, and
Yeah.
I don't know, this gimmick is it's a fucking as far as mid '90s WWF gimmick go, it's not bad.
A lot of people give mid 90s WWF a lot of shit, and believe me, it deserves a lot of shit. But 1994 was a good year, all things considered. Like everyone remembers the cartoon era, but that doesn't really start until Diesel gets the title. And I'm not even blaming Diesel for it. Just like when Diesel got the title, it became a very cartoon company. That's when they brought in like even more of the cartoon gimmicks. That's when you get the Wrestle Crap Hall of Fame, basically. But until that point, until the end of November, like WWF 1994 was pretty good.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, the you had Mania had some very good stuff that year. SummerSlam, despite the main event being terrible, had the very famous cage match that is loved by people who don't have an irrational hatred of escape the cage matches. And I fucking love the Brett Backlund match at Survivor Series.
oh yeah, I'm honestly like looking back, and I remember when I was a kid, I had no attention span. Like if a match went 15 minutes, like oh my god, this is going too long. I think Backlund had him in the crossface chicken wing for 15 minutes.
I think so. I think so.
And I was also I know I mentioned this on one of the shows, but I was just watching a lot of WCW too, because obviously, and it's like I can't say that they didn't need Hogan to get that popularity boost, but they put two fantastic pay-per-views on back to back just before Hogan got into the company.
I watched a couple of years ago for whatever reason. I watched like the last several pay-per-views in Clash before Hogan came in. And that shit, like you got the Flair Steamboat stuff and the Flair Sting stuff and Cactus Jack doing his stuff with the Nasty Boys. That was really good shit. And it's so sad. That Clash of the Champions with Flair and Sting when they did the unification match for the world title, the international world title. Like to me,
Mhm.
that is the season finale of like the WCW that I loved.
Well, that was also originally supposed to be the Bash of the Beach main event. If Hogan wouldn't have signed.
Really? Because I thought the whole point was to unify those belts so Hogan could win the fucking big gold belt.
I I like that they never. I don't think they ever explained because Sting, when he was the international champion, he had the big gold belt, and Ric Flair had the globe belt that I associate with Vader because he held it for like a year. Um,
Yeah.
but like when they unified the belts, Flair just kept the big gold belt, and like, it was like, okay, this is what we're using now.
You know what belts I love that do not get nearly enough love? The
That
second
W.
version, like
Mhm.
the Outsiders version of the WCW tag belts.
Okay,
I just think those belts are gorgeous.
basically the ones they had till the end.
Yes.
Yeah. I always liked that 91 through 94 WCW Globe title belt. Like I know it's not big gold, but it does not get the love that I think it deserves.
Or this referee counting fast.
I know. It's like he wanted to get out of this fucking match.
He's counting like fucking an ECW referee.
These three referees are always hilarious how fast they counted.
Yeah, I just remember it like even when I was young, like watching this stuff.
Adam Bomb
Did
just
Adam Bomb win?
won. Yeah, I think he won with a power slam.
All right.
Yeah. And I think that power outage is on purpose. Yeah, because they're playing the light show for him. We need a replay, which we're not going to get, I imagine, here in this house show.
Uh,
Um, but
Even when I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like
mhm.
13, I was like, God damn, these ECW referees count fast.
Which is always funny because Earl Hebner would be the slowest counting referee ever, especially like for the finish of the match. You could have an ECW referee count to 10 by the time Earl Hebner got to three.
And we need Jim Molyneux or John Finnegan.
I wonder if the ring announcer is announcing in French. So remember the Montreal Screwjob Survivor Series? It was in French.
I can confirm because I have the sound on low on my speaker that he was in fact speaking French.
Interesting. I guess this is why I had to ask if you had seen the match card because
Oh yeah,
uh, T
our old
Timothy.
friends. Well, you say it better than I. Who is this team, Arya? Tell us.
It is Timothy Well and Stephen Dunn. They are the team of Well Done. And by the way, Timothy Well, aka Rex King, is the uncle of somebody in the YouTube comment section,
Oh,
allegedly.
I mean,
Yes,
who would go online and lie about being Rex King's nibbling?
nephew. Because like if they went on and said, "Oh, I'm Bret Hart's nephew," it's like, okay, I know you're full of shit, even though Bret's got 50 nephews and nieces. But it's like saying you're Rex King's nephew. It's like, okay, it's random enough that you believe it.
Oh, I remember. I remember that. Yeah. Fuck it. I did look at the card earlier, but I didn't remember everything. And now I fully remember what this match is. This should be a Lulu.
Well, I hope you remember the matches since the Bushwhackers are already at
Yeah,
ringside.
yeah, that's how I did the math. That when the Bushwhackers came out, after Well Done came out, I somehow put two and two together and figured out that the Bushwhackers are wrestling Well Done. Arya, if
So
you were front row at a WWF show when the Bushwhackers came out, would you go for the face lick?
are we talking about when 41-year-old Arya or 9-year-old Arya?
Either one.
41, almost definitely no. 9-year-old, almost definitely yes.
I don't think that Butch or Luke would want to lick my beard, but I
Plus
would I
they
would I
seem
would be down for the honor of it.
plus they pretty much, to my knowledge, only lick children.
Yeah,
Oh Lord, that just
that
sounded really terrible.
oh
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're somehow listening to us and not watching this, why? But when we say that they lick children,
I mean, anybody that's seen the Bushwhackers knows what we're talking about. They would grab your head and lick the side of your face.
yes. Luke would occasionally kiss you in the top of the head.
He's a gentleman.
Yes. Um, Whether they came out with a kid and because they used to do this gimmick, and we'll see if they do the ring announcer thing here. But they would take fans out, like someone would be the not the referee, but someone would be like they'd walk to the ring with one of the wrestlers. Someone would carry Lex Luger's flag. Somebody would do the ring announcing. I'd be
Yeah.
interested to see if Luger comes out with the American flag. Actually, I'd be interested to see if Luger's on the card. Let me see. Nope, Luger's actually not even
Oh
on this
yeah.
show.
No, it's I don't remember. I think I'm missing a match, but the main event is Jock and PCO, and then there's Bret and Neidhart, which should be interesting. Then Razor and Jeff, and I think there's one other exciting match that I don't remember.
Well, according to Cage Match, there is between 3 and 4 other exciting matches that you don't remember.
Well, there you go.
And I'll explain why it's between 3 and 4 when we get to that point.
I just put together that the reason that they put this up is because they did, as we were recording last night, was Saturday night's main event in Montreal.
Oh, I legitimately did not put 2 and 2 together.
Because I was just thinking about, like, it's funny because that show was that, and then we're watching this show, and I'm like, oh, that's why they did that.
I mean, they
They
just also
also,
put up like remember when the WWF and NWA champions would randomly have matches against each other in Florida?
yeah, they
This
put
that
up Graham and Harley, which like
Yeah.
they also just put up the Madison Square Garden show where Hogan beat the Iron Sheik, and I think that's because it was the anniversary.
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense because it's the 42-year anniversary
yeah,
when my mother and father went to see Hulk Hogan win the title and then went home and procreated and 9 months later had me, which none of that is true except for the 9 month after that random time period they had me because I still say it makes sense that that's how I became such a giant wrestling fan and dork. But my mother denied it to her on her deathbed that she was at that show.
I've done the math, and I'm pretty sure I was my dad's birthday present.
Wow. Uh, I'm not expecting this match to go long. As funny as the
Oh,
Bushwhackers are, the everyone we always talk about like Butch Reed and Jim Duggan, and like as all these examples of people who were good workers that the WWF system, I don't want to say broke, but stopped giving a shit once they were in the WWF. These sheep herders and the Bushwhackers are two very different teams.
yeah, but also like listen to well, you can't hear the crowd. The fucking crowd
Yeah.
loves this shit. And look, I made fun of Well Done when they were in SMW, but they're the perfect fucking geeks to bump around for the Bushwhackers.
I was actually sad because this was not the Heavenly Bodies.
Right? I know that would have been too much to ask for.
Now, I didn't do too much digging, but this was, from what I could tell, the only show the WWF held on October 21st, 1994. So there was not a B show with Lex Luger versus Tatanka, somewhere else. Or if there is, Cage Match refuses to acknowledge it. I'm gonna have to check the history of WWE.
Maybe the bodies had the weekend off. What is
Quite
this?
possibly.
October what?
October 21st, 1994.
October 20.
Uh, 8 days away from my 10th birthday, excuse me. Now I don't even know how to do math. I was about to turn 10 years old.
Um, you are misinformed. According to the history of WWE, the B House show was in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and guess what the
Well,
main event was?
Lex Luger versus Tatanka.
Lex Luger versus Tatanka.
Um, I was only saying it because Cage Match only listed this show as happening on October 21st.
Okay, Luger Tatanka. The semi-main was Owen and Davey Boy.
I was gonna say, I'm
Before
gonna bet it was Owen Davey Boy.
before that was Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano.
Yep.
that
Um,
I had the
I'm
Smoking Guns against the Heavenly Bodies, but then the bottom half of the card was Doink the Clown versus King Kong Bundy, Bob Backlund versus Duke Drozy, and the 1-2-3 Kid versus Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
who was Steve Lombardi. See,
Yes.
well, I'll wait till later to tell you who I thought was also wrestling on that show, but um, I guess there's no tag team title match during this loop.
Who were the? It was the Head Shrinkers, wasn't it?
Nope. It was Diesel and Sean.
Oh, you're right. They won them the night before SummerSlam.
Yep. We were literally just talking about that.
Yeah, you're right. I had a brain fart and was thinking it was the night before Survivor Series, but Survivor Series is when they broke up.
Yep. Because that was the third time that Sean super kicked Diesel. Did you ever see like a I don't want to say underrated match considering the talent involved in the match and the fact that they were all friends. But did you ever see the match on from Action Zone, the second Action Zone around this time? Sean and Diesel versus Razor and Kid for the tag titles.
I've heard about it. I don't think I've actually watched it. I should. Sounds good.
I'd have to rewatch it because at least in my memory, it was a hell of a match, and that was the second time Sean accidentally super kicked Diesel.
I know it's a very highly regarded match.
Yeah, and And it's like, and obviously, like when you're gonna have like a 20-minute TV match with Shawn Michaels and the 1-2-3 Kid being half of the four participants, you're gonna get a fucking high quality match. But Razor and Diesel, more than held their own, if my memory serves me correct. And
Look,
I'm surprised this match is still going because like the way it was going, I thought it was gonna end about 3 minutes ago. But they're currently getting the heat on Luke there.
Scott Hall was a fucking great worker.
Scott Hall was great when A, he wanted to be, and B, he was in with somebody that he was inspired to work with. I guess that kind of goes back to the same thing. But
That's fair. It, Kev was good at times. Kev was good when he was motivated.
and with the right person.
Yeah.
Um but what
I'm
was
just
it?
a fan of Kevin Nash as a person. I just think he's hilarious and pretty smart.
He's also a very nice person, from like and I guess he's a politician, but it's like the worst you ever hear about Kevin Nash is he's a politician. But it's like during all those times when people are like Shawn Michaels is a dick, Triple H is a dick, Razor's a dick, no one ever says Kevin Nash was a dick.
Yeah, that was the rep, wasn't it? That he was like the one guy in that group that was kind of likable, but I don't know, he was
Yeah.
friends with who he was friends with.
Well, he was also a politician. He knew the right people to make friends with. He was friends with the Natural Born Thrillers because he knew the way WCW was going, he was going to have to put them all over. So he might as well be friends with them so he could,
Yeah,
you know,
because that was the rep in WCW that Nash was always cool with the boys because he made the boys like him.
yeah. I was going to say something. Oh, he was King of the Ring. I was like, Razor, especially when he has to wrestle more than once, his second match is usually, I don't say the shits, but it's the shits, more or less. Um, and I was thinking about them watching King of the Ring and In Your House 4. I'm not saying him and the 1-2-3 Kid versus the Smoking Guns was a match of the year candidate, but it was a pretty all right little match. And then he comes out against Dean Douglas, and I know they had their issues with Shane Douglas and all that shit, but Razor and Shane's In Your House 3 match was a million times better than their In Your House 4 match.
Remember, I had just started watching WCW in late 1999, and like Hall cut a promo that got me excited for the Hall and Benoit ladder match at Starcade, and then the match didn't happen.
Nope.
That was, because remember, I had only been watching wrestling for like 2 months, and Scott, I remember the line: go to the video store and rent WWF's greatest matches and watch me and Shawn Michaels. And I'm like, oh, what's this that I've never heard of before?
I do not remember Razor or Scott Hall saying on WCW Nitro to tell us to go rent the WWF's greatest matches.
I think it was on Thunder, maybe, because I don't
I
know.
also believe you because that's totally something that he would
Yeah,
do just to
yeah.
see what he could get away with.
Because I started watching WWF because that's what people at school were talking about, and then my sister was like, "Hey, there's this other wrestling that comes on, TBS." So I started watching Thunder, and then I would watch the first hour of Nitro before Raw started on Monday, and then I would watch Thunder, and then I found ECW on TNN just flipping channels.
So you watched the first hour of Nitro on Mondays and then switched over to Thunder?
No, no. On Monday, I would watch the first hour of Nitro and then switch to Raw, and then on Thursday, and then very soon after Wednesday, I would watch Thunder. I also watched
For those,
WCW Saturday Night and fucking like
yep.
Sunday Night Heat. I watched all the
Oh yeah.
wrestling I could find.
I used to watch Jack. That would come on Saturday nights at 10. Like my local station, like I don't know why, but we never watched SmackDown on Thursdays. SmackDown would re-air on my local TV Saturdays at 8, and then Jacked would air at 10, and ECW Hardcore TV would air at 11. And the
Okay, so the
Bushwhackers
finish,
just beat Well Done.
yeah, well done. Had the match won, and then they did the turnover. Hey, my wife
Yep.
just brought me a beer. You want to say hi to the listener, honey? Hello. Hello. She was.
And
I told her I was
and
going
you
to do the
said she
show, and
would
I
never
said,
come on the
can you
show.
bring me more beer? Yeah, I did. I did.
See
Oh, we have.
the
Oh, I thought it was a. I thought that was a little person, and I was so disappointed when I realized it was a child, which I guess is
that
technically a little person.
I don't believe that is the child that they licked before the match. That's the child that came to the ring with them. The referee's
Okay.
not afraid, by the way, that the child is going to attack the Bushwhackers. So he just dipped out of the ring there.
I don't know. I've told the story on like uh, Twitter or stuff before. I don't know if I've told it on the podcast. I did not get UPN on my cable system, so I did not get
Mhm.
SmackDown. But I when I was in like ninth or
That child
tenth grade,
that child did not appreciate the licking by Butch, by the
uh,
way.
when I was in ninth or tenth grade, I had a girlfriend, and they had satellite, and they got UPN. So I would go over on Thursdays to watch SmackDown, and I ended up staying in that relationship a few months longer than I wanted to, just because it enabled me to watch SmackDown. But that was how I got to see like John Cena's debut and the beginning of the SmackDown 6 era. So
Nice. Um, I said this before, but we didn't have TBS until 1998. Like we got TBS around the same time Thunder began. So until Nitro, the only WCW show that we could see was fucking Worldwide, which sounds worse than it was because Worldwide for a while they were still a B plus show. You know, it was not the throwaway hour that it would eventually become.
I would check our listenings. I'm sorry, I've been drinking, you guys. I would check the
Really?
TV listings, and I would like scroll channels and stuff. I had never found any of the syndicated shows. And then one time in March 2001, I was flipping channels and found Worldwide. And then I think that was the last episode of Worldwide.
Worldwide. I don't know when. I think it was like early '99, but it was a highlight show for the most part by that point. But it's like it started becoming a week off. Like it wouldn't tell you about last week's Nitro. It would tell you about the week before's Nitro. And so that's why it ended up being the
Uh,
last shows because the last Worldwide aired a week after the last
yes,
Nitro, but talked about the
yes.
next to last Nitro.
Yeah, I remember that. I think that might have been the episode, or it might. If it was either that episode, or it was like it was right around that time. It was at the very end. Hey, here's Double J.
The only title match we're going to see Double J in for a while. Um, but Jeff Jarrett, ladies and gentlemen, is getting a shot at the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Now, you might recall he is I believe, a six-time Intercontinental Champion too.
I think
So
so.
maybe this is number one. We'll find out here, I guess, in about 15, 20 minutes. Um, 'Cause,
Look,
I mean,
I know,
here's the
and
thing. It's
Arya's.
like, I'm sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Well, I know you're traumatized because you're watching the Reign of Terror and all that, but I fucking love Jeff Jarrett. I always have.
His reign of terror was going on simultaneously with the Triple H reign of terror, and it's like you wonder why people hated American wrestling at this in 2003, 2004.
Yeah, I remember people on some of the websites calling him Triple J, which was funny.
Until Eric Watts said it. And Eric Watts, I don't know, I guess he's a good Christian boy, but he calls him Jeff Jackass Jarrett, except he won't say ass. He'll say Jeff, Jack, and then hold the microphone up for the crowd to say ass.
That's really, really embarrassing and cringeworthy.
Yes. By the way, we're 2 days ago, as everyone's listening to this, the TNA show was, and I don't know why, but I'm not complaining. The Juggalos did not hijack this week's TNA show.
Well, that's good. Was the Insane Clown Posse on the show?
They were. And I'm thinking that's why. I don't know this for a fact, but my guess is like they were told before the show or something that ICP is going to be on the show tonight. Please do not hijack it, shit like that. Or maybe they just got the word that, if you fucking hijack our show again, we're going to throw you the fuck out.
Aria, did I ever tell you that Razor Ramon was my first favorite wrestler?
No, you haven't, but I'm not surprised, I guess.
Well, you're probably confused because I didn't start watching wrestling until 1999. But like, I, for whatever reason, I just when I was before I ever watched wrestling, I would rent WWF Royal Rumble for like Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and I just thought Razor Ramon was the coolest fucking guy.
Hey, whatever works.
And then later, like 97, 98, I still wasn't watching wrestling, but I played like WCW Thunder with a friend and became a big Ultimo Dragon fan. And I
I
am
thought
still
you
a
were
big Ultimo Dragon fan, and I'm also still a big Scott Hall fan.
I thought you were gonna say you rented Thunder, so you were a big Scott Hall fan.
I'm sure he was on there too. I don't know if I even made the connection, but I just thought Ultimo Dragon was so cool. To be fair,
Now, of
Ultimo
course,
Dragon is really cool.
when I say you were a big Scott Hall fan, we said you were a fan of Scott Hall, not Big Scott Hall, the AWA version of Scott Hall.
Oh, they remember when he and Kurt Hennig were the tag team champions and they would take on them all?
It
Look,
was
finally had
Cole
a
Kurt
referee
Hennig
I recognize, Tim White. That's the other
before
with
he
some
tried to
local riffs.
kill himself 30 times.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Suicide is hilarious. It's like the worst part about that too was the fact that like the first skit was a month after Eddie Guerrero's death.
Yeah.
And then to make it worse, if you weren't an online wrestling fan, that was the last thing you saw. They never mentioned it on TV ever again, and the skits just became a weekly WWE.com skit.
Didn't it end with him killing Michael Cole?
What?
Like, wasn't that the end that he killed Michael Cole or somebody? I
Oh
don't
no,
remember.
he killed Josh Matthews.
Oh, poor Josh Matthews.
Yeah. However,
I
Josh
wanted
Matthews returned on Velocity the same way that Matt Striker, after being kidnapped in NXT, showed up at every WWE show, including WrestleMania, while being kidnapped in NXT.
Josh was on the first season of Tough Enough, right?
Yes, he was.
With all due respect to Maven, I wanted Josh to win. I was a Josh guy.
Well, they had to have a babyface win, and Maven, even though he wasn't exactly a big hulking, statue, he was bigger than Josh.
Oh, yeah. Was it
Um,
Chris Nowinski on that too?
he was the heel.
You know, he might be the greatest ex wrestler, like him and Dallas Page.
Now, I assume by that you mean like the greatest person,
The
like
greatest, like the person who did the most good for the world in the wrestling business after leaving the business.
there you go. I would agree with that. Which is hilarious how WWE buried him at first, and then
Yeah.
you know realized he wasn't full of shit.
I mean, he was, yeah, he was already, that was the whole gimmick. He was educated, he was Harvard educated. That motherfucker went and got a doctorate in, I don't know, sports medicine or whatever it was. But yeah, he went and got a doctorate in that shit and just been the leading in all this concussion research.
Yep, it was not just a gimmick that he was a Harvard graduate.
Very smart fellow. Remember when they did a thing on Tough Enough that he had to like wear a, Yale rules sign or next to Harvard or some shit?
Something like that, yeah. It's been a long time since I watched, well, any Tough Enough, but specifically that first season.
I have not watched it since it aired live, and I somehow remember that stuff.
Remember that story about that girl? I think it was in season 3 that like she went psycho.
I don't remember that.
There was a girl, I think it was in season 3, but they didn't show it on TV. But they everybody else went out for dinner or something, and they came back and were told that she voluntarily left the house. Well, apparently she had a mental health episode, and she did not voluntarily leave the Tough Enough house. And then um, to show you how great communication was, she showed up backstage at a WWE show and got backstage because somebody knew that she was part of Tough Enough and ended up working in the production truck for like SmackDown, I think, before somebody figured out who she was and that maybe she shouldn't be in the production truck.
Oh, God damn! Scott put some stank on that clothesline, and Jarrett took a great bump for it.
Yep. Do you
Every
remember the
time,
story? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You go
Do
ahead.
you remember the story of the Click in like 1995, like refusing to go to the arena, refusing to wrestle unless they had a meeting with Vince McMahon? And like they had like the entire roster and were like, we need to keep this guy and get rid of that guy and yada yada yada.
I've heard of this. Yeah.
Like in all seriousness, like who like okay, I know who the fuck they think they are, but who the fuck do you think you are? It's like it was in like somewhere in Indiana too. And spoiler alert for people who don't know, Vince McMahon did not travel with the crew to all the house shows. Like he went to Madison Square Garden, but that's it. And so Vince McMahon had to fly in his private jet in 1995, the year that they were losing the most money they ever did, up to that point. And he had to fly to Indiana to have a fucking meeting with these guys for them to tell him who they thought should and should not be part of the company.
So Scott just hit the fall away slam, which he always called the sack of shit slam. Do you remember Backlash 2002? He had a match with Bradshaw that should have been the battle of the fall away slam, and neither of them did the move.
I remember the show. I remember the match. I don't remember that part.
It wasn't billed or anything. It was just people on the internet like, "Hey, the battle of the fall away slam," and then neither of them did it. Or I think I've told
Yeah.
this story before, but I went to like the Jim Ross show, like the afternoon of Night of Champions 2015 in Houston, and his surprise guest was Scott Hall. And it's like, I don't know, I couldn't think of a question for JR, but as soon as I realized I had the chance to ask Scott Hall a question, I got in line so I could ask Scott Hall about putting over Hiroshi Tanahashi in 2001.
Did he have any memory of this, or
Yeah,
what was his
no,
answer?
absolutely. No, he because apparently, like he was kind of hanging out with Tanahashi because Tanahashi was a young boy at the time, right? He's only 2 years in. Is that he's taking him out drinking at night, and then he gets to the building one day because he's wrestling Muto for the Triple Crown at the end of the tour. And yes, it was Muto defending the All Japan Triple Crown against Scott Hall on a New Japan show. That's the whole
Yep.
thing. But uh, it said, "Yeah, you're wrestling your boy today. What do you what do you want to do?" And he told Tiger Hattori, he said, "Well, let me put him over." And Tiger said, "Do whatever you want to do." So that a young Hiroshi Tanahashi caught one in a singles match on Scott Hall.
I mean, I would call that weird and wacky, but that was Scott Hall, especially
Yeah,
around that time where it's like, he would put like the random ass people over.
yeah,
Like he put Jericho over at that time. He's putting Tanahashi over, and it's like Scott Hall was smart enough for a number of things. He was smart enough to know that he wasn't going to lose his heat over
mm,
doing a job, and I mean that was it. That like he can put somebody else over, he can lose to them
yeah,
and gain favor with them because that was a big win for Chris Jericho. That
yeah.
was a big win for Hiroshi Tanahashi. Even though it makes no sense if Scott Hall is taking on Keiji Muto. Was it Muto you said for the Triple Crown?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It makes no sense, but you know, he did it.
I remember on the New Japan show, like the day after Scott Hall died. If you watched just very briefly during Tanahashi's entrance, he did the little Scott Hall walk.
I'll have to go back and check that out.
And yeah, and I remember him saying at the time that he didn't even know if Hall remembered. I'm like, no, he did because I asked him, and like because at the time Cody Hall was working in New Japan, so he was like Scott was watching. He knew who Tanahashi was and what he became.
I gotta say, as the queen of bad predictions, Cody Hall is one that I got really, really wrong. I was convinced he was going to be the next big star.
Didn't he get injured catching a dive? It was never quite the same again.
Possibly.
Remember he worked at Noah for a while, but it never really went anywhere.
Richie Steamboat's another person that, oh man, he was pretty good. Like, who knows how he could have been? Because I mean, those are big fucking shoes to fill. But he got hurt while in NXT and never came back.
I don't even know if I ever saw him wrestle.
He had a feud with Cassius Ono.
Oh, I bet that
Yeah.
was something.
It was a Lulu.
I was going to a lot of indie shows in like 2005 to 2000, not 2005, 2015, 2014 to 2017 ish.
Hmm.
Goddamn, Chris Hero was the greatest. Like as a live match wrestler on an indie show, he was the greatest.
Okay. So I'm going to say this, knowing that I am not somebody that should be pointing out other people's weight gains. However, Chris Hero put on some weight between his two WWE runs. And we all fucking know this. Trey, am I crazy? Like you know that Chris
No.
Hero put on some stomach fat?
I thought him
Okay.
having the fat stomach was like just it was part of it to me. I don't know. It worked for him, I thought.
Okay. Well, here's my thing. I was doing NXT for the Observer site for like close to a decade. And he showed up with a giant stomach. And I'm like, I brought it up. I'm like, man, he really put on some weight since his last time. But I wasn't burying him for being fat. I would say, man, he's a great athlete despite, the weight gain. And it got edited off. My report. I'm like, what the fuck? And so the next week I tried again and I put him over a little bit more. And again, it got edited off. It became a running joke for me to see just how much I could put over Chris Hero while mentioning that he was also a little bit overweight to see if it would ever get kept in the fucking report. And they edited it off every fucking time. And it the most ridiculous part, and this was the one that like I throw my hands and went, what the fuck? This was 2017 or 2018. He was wrestling somebody who had been in the Cruiserweight Classic, but I think it was Raul Mendoza. And the joke was that, well, not even the joke, but the thing was, whoever it was Raul Mendoza or whomever, they'd put on muscle, they'd put on a decent amount of weight, so they no longer qualified for the Cruiserweight division. And so I made a note that neither man qualifies for the Cruiserweight division. And somebody edited it to say that Raul Mendoza doesn't qualify for the Cruiserweight division. I'm like, somebody out there is going to think I'm fucking mental for at least the way it's written implies that Chris Hero does qualify for 205 Live.
I was at his last weekend on the Indies. It was like the weekend of Royal Rumble 2017, and Ring of Honor did a not Ring of Honor, Evolve did a double shot. So the first day he wrestled Keith Lee, which was Keith Lee's Evolve debut, and then the second day was the day that he had been feuding with Zack Sabre Jr. on the Indies for like a few years, and I had seen them wrestle in Evolve before, but that was when Zack finally beat him.
Nice. I think that was I think that was the weekend Bobby Roode may have won the NXT
It
title.
was, it
And then
was,
whoever and
yeah.
then whoever he beat, it might have been McIntyre. He
It
ran
was
into
Nakamura.
Cassius Ohno back. Was it Nakamura? Oh yeah, it was
Yeah,
Nakamura. He ran into Cassius Ohno backstage.
yeah. That was in line to get into the Astrodome for the Royal Rumble. I just struck up a conversation with a young lady behind me. She's like, "Oh yeah, this is my first wrestling show," and I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. This is my fourth one this weekend."
And eventually, both were super disappointed because that show was in fact at the Alamo Dome, not the Astrodome. And ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, I think we're about to have a count out.
Oh,
Yes, we are.
hey, Jeff Jarrett defeated the Intercontinental Champion by. This was a good match, by the way. I enjoyed watching this
Yeah.
while I was drunk and talking.
Yes. It should be known we are watching these matches. Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of these matches, but I think I know why I was confused by the match here or by the match card here. Something tells me Jeff Jarrett's about to take the mic because he's just about to find out that even though he's won this match, that because it's by countout, he does not win the most prestigious of all the Intercontinental titles.
Did
Razor
he not
Ramon
know
is
that?
still the champion.
Did he not know that?
Apparently not. And considering they do this finish like 50 or 60 times with Jarrett, I'm surprised he was unable to retain that memory. Maybe he needs to be tested for CTE. But yeah, I'm fairly confident right now he's on the mic and demanding that Razor Ramon get his chicken ass back in here and restart the match. Am I about right?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
You're the one with the audio on.
Hold on. I have to.
Well,
I'm
I'm
listening.
assuming,
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. He is in fact calling Razor Ramon a coward and challenging him to get back in the ring. I have my my headphones on that I use when we podcast, and then I have the sound on my speakers so I can hear the crowd noise, but I have to take an earphone off to actually hear him speak. Oh, and now the French guy is translating.
I don't know. I have a feeling, especially with Jeff Jarrett flapping his arms like a chicken, that the fans can pick up on this very subtle heel promo there by Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, I think you can put two and two together. Oh, well, Razor's ready to fight. All right.
Yep. Now, if you remember at the Royal Rumble, they do a very similar finish, and it leads to Jeff Jarrett beating Razor for the title. So is
Remember
this
they
the
did at sometime in early '95. They did a pair of like house show title changes, also in Montreal, or not in Montreal, in Quebec. And I remember one of them won the title in. I'm sorry, my French is terrible. Trois Rivières, Three Rivers, Quebec, and then they did changed it back the next night. Razor's Edge,
Trois
one, two, three. I love that move. That's such a fucking great move. The goddamn Razor's
Razor's Edge?
Edge. I love it.
And by the way, this explains, and I kind of figured it out, but this explains why Cage Match has this match listed twice, which is why I was
Eh.
kind of questioning how many matches there were on this show. Oh man, they pulled the big stops. We're going to have a special guest ring announcer for the next match, which if it's what Cage Match says it is, man, oh man, this guy, they really pull out the stop for this kid here for a big match for him.
Kid has such 1994 hair.
Ah, good old bowl cut.
You know, I did a middle part in high school. Can you believe that?
Uh, I can, sure.
I should find. I have a high school graduation, but I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought that looked good. Did you know I did a middle part in my hair in high school? Wife was bringing me another beer.
That's
I was
very
gonna
good.
say I
Number one,
do.
too.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I do know you did since you just told me about it 30 seconds ago.
I was speaking to my wife, who was lovingly bringing me another beer so I can continue the podcast.
There's a man with a mustache in the ring now too.
Hello,
And if you've got it,
son. Yeah. We have an Astro Peach run in.
Astro Peach is not the guest ring announcer for our next match.
He should be
Nor
though. He's very loquacious.
nor is Astro Peach holding a camera pointed at the child who's doing the ring announcing. I'm going to assume this man, this mustachioed man, is the father of this child.
I'm so annoyed. I don't understand any French. It's so foreign.
Parlez-vous
It's weird.
français? Yep, it is in fact IRS.
Hey, it's
It,
IRS.
now you'll have to tell me if he cuts a promo about all the tax cheats in Montreal, and he really doesn't have jurisdiction over the tax cheats, especially in another country.
What day does Canadians pay taxes? You think he's mad because Canadians actually get public services for their taxes, and their taxes just don't fund like wars and handouts to billionaires?
That child knew his role to hand IRS the microphone. Now, I assume he's just calling them all tax
Oh,
cheats and
he just assured that no one will rest in peace until all their taxes are paid. Is he wrestling the? I don't think he's wrestling the Undertaker. Why is he
nope,
resting in peace?
because apparently he's taking on Bob Holly.
Oh,
But
Bob Holly.
yes, Hollywood Bob Holly for you Smoky Mountain fans. Um, now the reason why he's starting to talk about death and taxes is because They're building to the IRS Undertaker feud that culminates at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I was thinking they had a match at the Royal Rumble that year. I kind of like Bob Holly.
I was gonna say you weren't around for the first I don't know 15 or so episodes of Smoky
Mm,
Mountain with Hollywood Bob Holly.
yeah, I just like even with like I know he's kind of a dick and he beat the fuck out of Matt Cappotelli that time and that wasn't cool. But I don't know.
and
I always
and
just
and and Rene Dupree.
okay that you know that I understand.
And he tried to
But
deadweight Brock Lesnar.
I I at some point maybe like when we finish Smoky Mountain or something, I want to do like some short series on some kind of short-lived Southern Territory type shows, and I'm trying to get Arya to watch the World Organization Wrestling with Hollywood Bob Holly.
I like you say you're trying to get me to watch it. It's the first time you've ever brought it up.
No, I brought it up to you before, like once, and you forgot immediately, but I promise I did.
Oh God. This is like, and I'm sure they had an intermission. I mean, I guess this would be the fourth match, but this would be a weird pre-intermission match. But like, this is like such a WWF card. You get the Bushwhackers versus Well Done, Razor Ramon versus Jeff Jarrett, and then Bob Holly versus IRS.
You know, I know it probably changed from time to time, but when I went to WWF house shows in like the mid 2000s, the pre-intermission match was just like a mid-card match. It wasn't anything special.
I mean, I'm thinking about like the good old days where it's like it's basically two halves of a show. You built up to a main event, you went to an intermission, and then you built back up to another main event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not placing a moral judgment or anything. I think it was a good way to do it.
Oh, oh, okay, good. I was worried that you were placing a moral judgment on me.
No. You know, I really like the way that New Japan structures a card where you start with fucking young lions and then build up to the big matches.
I thought you were going to say you like how New Japan structures a show with an eight-man tag, then an eight-man tag, then an eight-man tag, then a 10-man tag, then a six-man tag, then a
Well,
tag match, then an eight-man tag.
I'm not talking about the fucking road shows, which like Aria teases me because when I'm catching up, I'm watching like fucking all these collisions, but mainly I'm watching all these New Japan fucking glorified house shows. That's the shit that I enjoy watching the most.
I think I was just teasing you during G1 when I'm like, okay, there's like an hour of each show that you can skip. You're like,
Hey,
no, I need to watch those meaningless undercard tag and trios matches.
you can have my preview tags when you pry them from my cold dead fingers.
They tried to do that during the pandemic.
Did you ever read Bob Holly's book?
They did the hardcore truth.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good book.
I, I'm I'm trying to scan my bookshelf because I know it's on there somewhere. I do not currently see it, but I
Uh,
know it's there somewhere.
you and I have never talked about this very much. Are you a print book or do you like ebooks?
I I like print books, but I like the affordability of an ebook.
I like the fact that I have like 500 books on a thing that I can carry anywhere.
That too. I like that the next time I move, I'm not going to have, 300 pounds of books to carry around.
And I still do have books. Like I have a whole bookshelf that are my history books, my academic books, which are like, serious. Or it's hard to like the rules about citing. I don't know. It's annoying. The the pagination irritates me because like especially on like Kindle or something, they have the choice, the publishers do, of making the pages on the Kindle books match the print books, and then they just
Mhm.
often don't because they're lazy. And as someone who like I very often am using these things to cite in serious academic work, and it irritates me that they make it so difficult. Nice Enziguri by
Uh,
Bob Holly.
I would like to disagree with that. As a two-time published author, I'll be honest, I have yet to have that option. to have it linking up exactly like that.
Yeah, but you're like but you're not a major academic press.
You hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry,
Um,
Arya. Look,
you know what offends me?
I bought your first book. I will get around to buying your second book, I promise.
I,
But you are
I
not
appreciate
the
that.
University of North Carolina Press.
Allegedly. Um, you know what offends me? That Mike Rotendo never taught either of his kids the abdominal stretch while pulling the ropes.
I know, right? That's a shame.
I'm convinced that the only reason why Mike Rotendo wrestled for as long as he did was so he could put somebody in an abdominal stretch and grab the ropes.
At least he didn't start sticking his thumb up people's bums. Oh, maybe he'd have won more if he had.
Possibly. Although BG James regularly attempts anal rape on TNA, and he does not win
Oh,
all that often. I
you
mean,
mean Marine Corps Brian Armstrong appearing on USA Wrestling,
yes,
talking
he,
about his
he he's a
brother doing the
proponent,
super kick?
super kicking Steve Armstrong. He is a
Uh,
proponent of gay anal penetration, unless
Arya
you
and
want
I
it.
Arya and I both just watched the defunct championship wrestling episode on Southeastern Wrestling.
Um, I just like that was always like the funny thing to me, like when watching those TNA shows was like he does anal rape on everybody, but then Bruce actually liked it, and he's just like, oh no, I can't give you anal rape now because you enjoy it.
Oh,
Like,
I only remember seeing him do that one time, and it was on Raw. And no, Test did it to him because Test also did the pump handle slam,
mm-hmm.
and he did the butt fucking before he gave Road Dogg the pump handle slam.
Well, you need to watch more TNA then.
I look, I
E-
watched TNA when you asked me to.
Either Kevin Northcutt or Legend, I forget which one. I think it was Northcutt. Took a an unlubed
Um,
fucking this week.
no, that's not good.
No. But by
I
the
did,
way, both America's Most Wanted and AJ Styles did not have a match this week on TNA. However, we had time for a fucking angle with the Insane Clown Posse to set up a match with them versus Glenn Gilberti and David Young next week.
do you think AJ is going to lose to Gunther? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I, I guess Shinsuke Nakamura just put out a tweet that AJ told him his last match was going to be the Rumble. But again, it's like I have my doubts that this is going to be his last match because, like, A, it's just so out of nowhere, and it's like I don't know. Like the only thing, like I said, the only thing that's making me think he might lose is because this is Gunther's first big match since retiring John Cena, and he's going to lose to AJ Styles, even though I still think he's winning the Rumble. But to me, that's
Think
also
Gunther's winning the Rumble?
that's my prediction. That's been my prediction for months.
All right, so Drew
Um,
McIntyre's the one champion. Who's the other champion? Punk.
yep.
The Punk. Okay.
At least when I originally
Hmm.
came up with the idea, it was going to be Gunther and Cody. But you know,
I the expected plan, I think, at this point is a Drew Cody rematch from what I've seen of late.
which is kind of weird. Like Drew got the title in many ways the same way that Ronnie Garvin got the title. It's like they didn't want to do the Cody Roman third match, which with all due respect, all involved, thank God for that. So it's like they felt they had to do something to heat it up, and Drew just happened to be the guy feuding with Cody at that time, and he got the title.
Well, you know what? Good for Drew. Drew's very good.
Which is funny because, as I mentioned on this show many times in the past, up until now, nobody had ever bought a ticket to see a Drew McIntyre world title match.
Bob Holly looking really good in this match.
Yeah. 'Cause what was it? He was the TNA champion. They did all their shows at Universal. When he won the title, the first
Oh,
two
oh,
times.
oh!
Oh,
God damn it!
IRS, a
The I
slingshot splash.
the IRS fucked somebody again. I can't believe it.
I know they're building him up for the Undertaker, but I'm actually surprised by this.
All right, I gotta go take a leak between matches. So talk.
Okay. I like that you said that onto the recording because, they couldn't just DM me. Anywho, so that was IRS versus Bob Holly. And yeah, I am a little surprised that IRS won here. Just because, like it's IRS. Like, the guy he wins, but he doesn't win that much. And it's a house show, so typically babyface over, babyface over, babyface over. And now we're getting Bob Holly losing. And looking at the card, I only predict one other heel victory, and that's going to be our next match if Cage Match is accurate with what the next match is going to be, which I'd have no reason not to believe that we're not about to get Diesel versus Head Shrinker Sione. Not the Barbarian, but Head Shrinker Sione. I do not remember the timeline of this, but Samu more or less retired after the Head Shrinkers lost the tag titles. And maybe he didn't retire per se. I think he just, maybe he just stopped wrestling. I don't know. But we're getting a great shot of Tony Garea backstage in his shirt and tie, just like standing around with his thumb up his ass while we're waiting for Diesel's intro. But Samu quit, fired, retired, whatever, and they just decided to go with. They wanted to keep doing the Head Shrinkers, and the Barbarian wasn't under contract anywhere at this point, so they brought him in to team with Fatu.
Oh, Bob
And
Marion's here. I'm back, by the way. Hi.
welcome back.
I'm sorry. I
Uh,
am I am actively drinking for the sake of the show. So I've been like thrown on like 2 beers since we've been doing this.
well, you also know that it is strongly recommended to stay hydrated.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been stoned on our show so many times, and I feel more vulnerable being a little drunk.
Really, you've been stoned on our show before?
Once, a
Yeah,
bunch of times.
I'm in both shock and awe when you say that. Um,
Do you remember our first like 2 weeks doing the shows were so awkward? And then the third week I was stoned, and after that it was just like off to the races. We found our chemistry.
yep, because you were under the mistaken impression that I wanted a serious show
Yeah,
without
yeah.
any shenanigans.
I thought you wanted to do a good show. I didn't realize you just wanted me to be me.
How would that have been a good show for you to not be yourself?
I don't know. I don't know, but we
By,
got it. We got
by the
it.
way, I guess Captain Lou Albano and Alpha have high hopes for Head Shrinker Sione here because they're allowing him to wrestle on his own without their guidance to make sure that he is not a savage. He's wearing
Dude,
his boots.
I do
Which is
not
funny because like the
remember.
Barbarian has never wrestled barefoot, but like he came in when they started doing the Head Shrinkers have to wear boots thing, and it's like you know, and then it's like
Oh,
Barbarian acts like it's hard for him to wear boots.
oh, fuck yeah! Bob Marion versus Diesel. This is gonna be awesome.
I love how short or yeah short that entryway is. Diesel basically a head above it. One half of the tag team champions here, Big
Yeah,
Daddy Cool Diesel. This is why I thought Shawn Michaels and Samu were on the other card. Then I figured they'd be here in their corners, but they're not here either. So
maybe
maybe,
Sean just had the
so
week
maybe
off.
I would say maybe somebody or not no showed, but had transportation issues.
Look, nothing good happens from Shawn Michaels coming to Montreal.
No, the Click coming to Montreal in general. Like remember him in PCO, Diesel and PCO,
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember
and then the
that.
funniest part about that was it was either it was either WCW or TNA. Nash did a promo about how He was in the ring with somebody who didn't want to lose in Montreal, in their hometown, and he had to go into business for himself, which like nobody fucking knows that. I mean, people know, but nobody knows that story but him and Pierre. So most people just thought that Kevin Nash was putting himself into the Montreal screw job.
Yeah, that's like a kind of obscure thing. Like I had to think of it a second to remember what you were talking about. That there was an incident between PCO and Kevin Nash.
In 36 days, one of the two people in this match will be the WWF champion.
You know, I have a handheld of that show, and it's funny because I haven't watched it, but I went back and watched that 8 seconds, and the people who were around that camera were like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?"
I'd have to rewatch it. I mean, I believe you. I just don't recall that. Um, it did get a little bit of a pop. And I'll say this though, it
Yeah,
actually with the storyline, that whole thing made sense because it's like Backlund was delusional that he's been the champion since 1978. He got screwed out of the title, and now he won the belt under dubious means, returns to Madison Square Garden, the place of all of his successful title defenses, and
yeah.
he is the big man on campus, and he gets his ass kicked in 8 seconds.
Look, the WWF was historically a territory that would do short-term heel transitional champions to move the belt between baby faces.
Yeah.
And I think it's terrific that Bob Backlund went from being because when he lost the title to the Iron Sheik, that's what that was. The Sheik was winning it so he could lose it to Hogan.
Yeah.
And then Brett was in the opposite, or I'm sorry, Backlund was in the opposite position. He had that, and again, we were just talking about. I fucking love that match with Brett. And then it's perfect. The way you laid it out is exactly right. That was a perfect situation.
Um, Barbarian, never a world champion. Um, we're gonna have a Barbarian on Mid South shortly, but it's not this Barbarian. If
Oh,
I
is it
if
John
I
Nord?
it
Who
is. If my memory serves me correctly, John Nord is coming in as the Barbarian.
He was Nord the Barbarian from somewhere, wasn't he?
AWA, I believe.
Yeah.
Up here we
Was
go.
he also
Jack.
a lumberjack? Oh, Jackknife 1, 2, 3. It's
Yep.
over.
Jeez, that referee was an
Oh,
ECW referee, wasn't he?
oh yeah. I don't. I think that Bob Marion would have kicked out if that hadn't been such a fast count.
Yeah. I mean, if that referee was the referee of King of the Ring, Jim Neidhart wouldn't have had a chance to get in the ring and break it up, even
I
though
know
Nash
most
hadn't even
people.
made the cover.
I know most people love the ball bearing, but for after reading Todd Gordon's book, the Barbarian will always be Bob Marion to me.
I have not read Todd Gordon's book yet, but yeah, number one, Paul Jones, the ball bearing. I was never figured out like, is that like just was it a rib or was it just like he was incapable of saying the barbarian?
I bet he was just thinking, "Oh, say the Barbarian." That's what
Or
Neidhart's still coming out to the fucking Hart Foundation music.
yeah, he did that the entire run. This run in 94, 95, he came out to the Hart Foundation theme without the dun dun dun.
Former
Yeah,
Mid South Wrestling standout and tag team partner of Bitch Steed, Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
former Mid South Tag Team Champion.
Yeah,
You know, yeah, he won the Anvil toss at the Calgary Stampede. That's how he got the nickname, the
I
Anvil.
heard. I heard about that.
You know, I gotta say the person who won the Anvil toss the next year is like, why the fuck can't I be the Anvil?
Neidhart got to be a tough son of a bitch because by all measures, he married the bitchiest Hart sister.
Ellie.
I don't know. Maybe it's
but
just the way Brett put it. You could, and I've said I feel bad that I thought poorly of Diana for so long before I actually heard Diana speak. And it's really clear that like even before everything that happened, Brett was just kind of jealous of Diana because Brett also loved Owen so much. And he like I think Brett felt like Diana took Owen away from him.
I figure you felt bad because Dana was a bit of a hooer.
Is this a WWF title match? Oh, and there's Jeff
Yes,
Jarrett attacking Bret
it
Hart.
is a WWF title match, and Jeff Jarrett just hit the ring for the disqualification. I think.
I don't
I'm
think
like,
the match
man,
started. I don't think the match
oh
has started yet.
damn! And now here comes somebody to help break it up, and somebody was so bad at it he almost left the ring. And here comes more
Several
referees.
referees. I think there's Tony Gurria, if I recognize the back of his head.
I think it's Rene Goulet is who you're looking at. Oh no, Tony Gurria is in there, but so is
I think
Rene
it's Tony
Goulet.
Gurria and Rene Goulet.
Yes,
Weren't they WWF Tag Team Champions?
possibly. Let's
I cannot type. I'm drunk.
see here. Dear Bing, please do a Google search for Tony Gurria and Rene Goulet.
They competed together in the WWF Tag Team Championship tournament in 1980, reaching the finals where they were defeated by the Wild Samoans. Okay, they were not WWF Tag Team Champions together, but they almost were. And then Tony Gurria became champions with Rick Martel.
And he also regards Goulet as a great guy.
Oh yeah, he seems like a great guy.
Um, what's what's his name? Honky Tonk Man. What do you call him? Sergeant, right? Was
Sergeant
it?
Honky Tonk Man.
No, Honky Tonk Man would call Rene Goulet Sergeant, didn't he?
Oh, I don't remember that. I'm sure
Jeff Jarrett decided to take a seat at ringside for this WWF title match, which is allowed to happen, by the way.
Isn't Bret Hart's middle name Sergeant?
It is.
It's crazy.
This is another one of those examples of like, how did people ever think wrestling was real? Like, if this was a real sport, and before the sporting event began, like a third party ran to the ring and assaulted one of the participants, like they would not just pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go, "Okay, time to start our match."
I've had a conversation with people that like they watched it when they were young and then they found out that it was fake and it ruined it for them. But it was like, okay, I was not watching wrestling when I was as young as like you were. I was I was 12, so I was a little bit older, and then I just like culturally in the 90s, it was like when I started watching pro wrestling, the only thing that I knew about it was that it was quote unquote fake. So like that was never an issue for me.
Oh, me neither. It got beat into my head before I even was a wrestling fan that wrestling was fake. And Jim Neidhart just gave the fucking elbow to the ring post.
I don't I don't care that wrestling is fake. Wrestling is awesome.
Is wrestling fixed? I didn't even know it was broken.
Thank you, Bill Apter. I need to read that book. I have I have it.
It
I
was
haven't read it.
it was all right. Oh Lord, Bill Apter ghosted me, by the way.
Ghosted
Uh,
you? How rude.
I know. He was originally going to be on my podcast way back when, my original podcast. We had agreed to a date and a time. He had to push it back a week, which is fine. And then I never heard from him again.
Well, he got busy.
Well, I understand that, but at least say, oh, shit happens. I'm sorry, but dot dot dot.
I'm, I'm just picking at you. That was shitty.
Um, what's the name of this move that Jim Neidhart is using right now and Bret Hart?
Wasn't that the move that he was doing in WCW in '93, and they acted like it was his patented submission hold that he had never done before?
Well, I just meant it's the Shinnomaki or the Cobra Clutch,
It
depending on
is.
who's doing it.
It's not a very good one.
So wait, you're so are we saying it's better or worse than Hercules's?
I don't know. It's weird. By the way, again, we discussed this in the Mid South show. Why did nobody ever? His proper name, Shininomaki, works out to something like Dead Man's Clutch, and that's a better fucking name.
That is a tremendous name, the Dead Man's Clutch. Remind me 3 days ago about that if Hercules or Private Terry Daniels win a match.
You remember Prince Karras doing the Shininomaki?
Prince Karras would uh, turn his arm around and hit the people in the head.
What happened to the ninja guy? He disappeared after there were two of him, and then they did a bunch. I guess he went with Jake Roberts.
I'd say, well, you see, Tim Horner got fired, and well, we didn't need Kendo the Samurai anymore.
Well, we haven't seen Bobby Blaze in a while. He could have still been Kendo the Samurai.
I'd say, not that we ever needed Kendo the Samurai, but without Horner, we really didn't need him. Tim Horner is not in your corner. He
Horner
might be able to help
corner.
Bret here, but I guess this is after he got fired from Smoky Mountain, so Horner could have showed up to be in Bret's corner here.
Did he have a New Japan tour late in '94? So we're
Horner?
yeah.
Sorry, I haven't gotten to that point in my biography of Tim Horner.
I remember somebody told me years ago. I never actually seen it, but it was like because we were in a conversation about disappointing, quote unquote X's like mystery opponents, and apparently like they're in whatever 94, 95 or whenever it was, they had billed Keiji Muto against X, and then it was Tim Horner, and everybody was disappointed.
Everyone's disappointed to see Tim Horner.
I don't know. Well, except for Pam.
She is she was not attractive enough that Horner needed to work that hard to sleep around on his wife with.
Well, you know.
I'm sure she was a lovely lady when she wasn't trying to kill fans by dropping lighting rigs on them.
Sorry, I was scrolling and looking at the Maple Leaf Garden show from like 3 days later, and like they should upload that. I want to see this Brett and Bob Backlund match.
I'm trying to think of a witty way to a witty title for Tim Horner's biography. And I really can't.
Uh, I don't think I don't. Shameless, the Tim Horner story.
So I was trying to get Fax Machine in there somewhere.
That's actually like a good song, and all I can think about when I think of it now is fucking Tim Horner.
Why are you thinking about fucking Tim Horner?
Bad adjective choice. That was an adjective and not a verb.
Look at the adjective. Play.
Fucking
We
Tim
ain't here to
Horner.
play.
Adjective. Oh
Oh
God.
Lord.
Oh God. USWA Memphis, October 24th, 1994. The main event was Sid Vicious versus Mabel.
And you wonder why that territory went out of business?
That sounds fucking dreadful. I would love to see it.
This Monday at the Mid-South Coliseum. Not even King Mabel. Not even Viscera. We're talking about men on a mission, Mabel.
The first time I ever went to Memphis, I had to make my pilgrimage to the Mid South Coliseum. Pay my
That was torn
respects.
down.
No, it's still there. It's like a historical landmark. It's not active anymore. You know, the pyramid that was the arena that they had like the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in, that is
Yep.
now a Bass Pro Shops.
Did you try to walk through it and go out to the Mississippi River?
I couldn't find anybody to brawl with in Rapid Fence, so I didn't. By the way, the best thing Al Snow ever did was his line during that match was, "I want you to meet my girlfriend. Her name is Barbie Wire."
Poor Al Snow. I always have to laugh because Al Snow flat out tells you that he's bitter, but he doesn't have the reputation of being bitter, even though he tells you that he is.
My favorite thing about Al Snow is that by his own logic, he's never had a good match.
Because he was never the main event.
He never drew any fucking money. Or
Uh,
Jeff got Bret, Neidhart. Oh, he hit. I can't believe it. He hit Jeff by accident, and Bret got him 1, 2, 3.
this is not a good night for Jeff Jarrett. Sheesh.
No,
His day went to hell the moment he took the microphone and called Razor back to the ring. Yeah, Bret
so
Hart
this
is still,
okay.
to the shock of approximately nobody, Jim Neidhart did not win the WWF title here tonight in Montreal.
So Neidhart was a heel with Owen, and then Davey Boy was a babyface with Bret. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and so Davey Boy was still a babyface at the Royal Rumble when they did the Shawn Michaels thing
Yep. He's a baby face until he turns on Diesel on the Go Home show for SummerSlam 95.
on the Go Home show. That's weird.
Yep. They did a tag match. It was supposed to be the Allied Powers versus Men on a Mission, but Luger wasn't there for some reason, so Diesel stepped in, and that's when Bulldog turned on him.
Diesel and Bulldog had a pay-per-view main event so bad that like Vince was pissed about it. I remember Cornette saying that he apologized to Vince for being a part of it.
Yeah. It's like it wasn't Jim's fault. Oh God. And now Brett's like, we need to pad the runtime a little bit. But we went to black because it's time for the semi-main event here. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a casket match. So I'm thinking that person isn't the dad of that ring announcer earlier because, um, he's the guy with the mustache is back in the ring with the camcorder. Or maybe he is the dad and
No,
that's how that kid got the gig as the ring announcer.
maybe this is for I don't know something local in Montreal or something.
Maybe they're announcing the next show. Has your
Oh,
French gotten any? I was gonna say, has your French gotten any better since we last?
it has not. I'm so sorry. I haven't learned French in the last 45 minutes.
So we have no idea what this guy is saying. I'm sure he's somebody very important. And if we could turn a little bit to the camera, I'm assuming he's doing a Paul Bearer impression that he doesn't have any kind of medical disorder.
That's kind of what it sounds like.
That he's doing a Paul Bearer impression.
Yeah, he
Okay.
sounded very. He's wearing a Rougeau t-shirt.
But he was shaking. I'm like, is he got Tourette's maybe? Or
No, I think that was. Oh, here's another fellow. Oh, he's got an
he's
urn.
we got props going on here.
Hey, Arya, you know how he got that urn?
He earned it.
He earned it.
Is he
Oh
also
yeah,
doing Rougeau?
they're doing Paul Bearer. I just heard Paul Bearer. They're doing Paul Bearer impersonations.
I hope so. Otherwise, what the hell is this guy doing with an urn? He's also
Okay,
got a Rougeau shirt on. I'm starting to think this is a bit fixed here, especially if the third guy comes in a Rougeau shirt.
okay. Excuse my weak bladder, but I'm gonna let you handle this. I'll be right back.
Jesus H. Christ. This third guy, not only does he not have a prop, he does not have, oh, he does have a prop. He has an urn too. And he does not have a Rougeau shirt on. He just has a red shirt. So I'm thinking this guy is not trying to fix this contest here. And Yeah, of all the Paul Bear impressions I've ever heard, I can't even say these are the three most recent ones because I'm not even got the audio on this one. And apparently he gave himself a fucking migraine or something 'cause he grabbed his head, and the other two guys are putting him over. So I'm thinking this guy might end up being our winner. Oh, nope, there's a fourth guy here, and they pass the props along. So it's like the one guy, the second guy still has his prop. And this guy not only has the Bret Hart shirt, the Montreal Expos hat. That's
Oh,
the poor bastard. The Montreal
you know
Expos, the
what?
one year that they were good during my lifetime was '94 when they had the strike shortened season. Poor fucking bastards up in Montreal. I guess they technically won a title once they went to Washington as the Nationals, but that doesn't count. How many fucking people are in this contest? We're just going to bring out 16,000 people to do Paul Bearer impressions because we got to fill the runtime here for this show. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. We only got two
Okay.
matches left. And I'm going to bet Undertaker Yokozuna is not going to be a 30-minute match here. And Jacques versus Pierre. While I'm not expecting the Hiroshi Tanahashi hour-long retirement ceremony afterwards, I'm not expecting that match to go, forever either. All
I
right, so
am
apparently
back. Sorry.
we're limiting
I went to.
from we're limiting it this contest to apparently five, and judging purely on their physical, uh, impressions, I would give it to Red Shirt Guy.
Red Shirt Uno?
Yes.
Or is he a member of Red Shirt Security?
He doesn't have the word security on his back,
I
so
guess not.
possibly not. Hey, the
Oh.
red shirt won. This is a good week
All,
to. It's a good week in wrestling to be a red shirt, I guess.
all right. Good for them. Good for Red Shirt.
That poor guy in the Expos hat. The fucking Expos didn't even get to, finish their baseball season, and now he doesn't even win the Paul Bearer impersonation contest.
Sucks
And
to be
here
an
we go.
Expo. A
The
Yokozuna
double,
sized casket.
the double deep, double wide casket. And if I was Yokozuna, even if I lose this, I wouldn't feel that bad because apparently it has magic powers that allows you to transform into Marty Jannetty being taken up to the ceiling.
What if Yokozuna became a more powerful Yokozuna?
I thought you were going to say, what if Yokozuna became Marty Jannetty? That would have been a harder match trick to pull off. Like let's say whoever lost that match was going to become Marty Jannetty and be hung and be brought to the ceiling. You know, imagine if Yokozuna lost instead of getting like a 500-pound guy, having like instead of having like Bam Bam Bigelow being brought up to the ceiling, instead they try doing Marty Jannetty again.
Not a very good thing to be Marty Jannetty in my experience.
No one wants to be Marty Jannetty, not even Marty Jannetty.
Ooh, doo, doo, doo. You know what? Yokozuna was great.
Now, there's no Chuck Norris at this match, as he was at Survivor Series, and Chuck Norris was brought in specifically to prevent a dozen guys from interfering at Survivor Series. So I'm going to assume here that Yokozuna could be the odds-on favorite, because I mean there are enough heels on this show they could all run out.
I bet that Bret Hart wishes that Chuck Norris had been here. He could have dealt with Jeff Jarrett.
And I mean I know he's a babyface now, but I believe Adam Bomb was in that group of people who attacked Undertaker at Royal Rumble.
Oh. Sadly, no Jim Cornette with Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji.
Cornette could not cross the border even back then. Um, I don't even know if
No,
that's the reason. He was in Smoky Mountain, ladies and gentlemen. He wasn't doing WWF house shows.
he was
Um,
probably in Harlan, Kentucky, or wherever the fuck.
yeah, it's funny. Like, I think about all the people who ran in on that match. Bam Bam Bigelow isn't on this show. Crush isn't in the territory. The Head Shrinkers, like one of them's not in the territory, the other's not here. Jeff Jarrett's here. Adam Bomb, who I think interfered, is now a babyface. Tenru and Katao are No, it wasn't Tenryu Katao. It was Tenryu and Kabuki. They're back in war. Um, so Yokozuna, I don't know if he has any friends that can help him out here.
War. What is it good for? Random six-man tags.
I was gonna say weird six-man tag champs. That's funny. As a kid, like if you lost a casket match, that meant you went away for a while. And so it's like, when, well, I can't say we'll get to it, but like when Mabel loses it in your house, I'm like, okay, well, that's the end of Mabel because, he lost a casket match. Well, then Mabel came back like 2 weeks later. So much for that.
So much for that. Okay, we might have to watch the November '94 NWA title match when we get to it. NWA title tournament.
I was gonna say, do you want to specify which title match you want us to do?
The title
Now,
tournament. I'm sorry.
now, just to be clear, just to be 100% clear here, are you telling me that you want to watch the Dean Malenko promo again?
If you play that fucking Dean Malenko promo again, I'm gonna quit the podcast.
Uh, 3 minutes. I warned you. That was it's 3 minutes of Dean Malenko. I don't know who the hell ever wanted that, but yeah. Every
You know,
time you
I
think he's every time you think he's done, he's like, and then I'm gonna be wrestling. I don't know who I'm gonna be wrestling the first round, but by the end of that night, if you don't know Dean Malenko, you'll know Dean Malenko. And if I become the NWA champion, you'll know Dean Malenko.
so this is October 22nd,
21st.
21st. Okay, Smoky Mountain Wrestling was in Fleming, Neon, Kentucky.
That
The
is the name of a town.
main event was a battle royal won by Tracy Smothers. The semi-main event was Ricky Morton and Tracy Smothers against the Gangstas.
The
Match before that
Gangstas.
was the Dirty White Boy against Nightmare Ted Allen. The
Now,
opener was Tracy Smothers against D'Lo Brown. So Tracy worked 3 times on that show.
I was gonna say, and I wonder who all was in the battle royal.
And then the other match, if you keep track, was Lance Storm against Boo Bradley. And then
See, I wouldn't have guessed there was another match. That was 4 matches right there.
and the battle royal was Tracy Smothers, Boo Bradley, D'Lo Brown, Dirty White Boy, Lance Storm, Mustafa Syed, New Jack, Ricky Morton, and the Nightmare. Did I
I
mention
like
that
that
the other match was the Dirty White Boy against Nightmare Ted Allen?
you did. I said interesting.
Yeah.
I like that you made sure to say it, even though everyone, including myself, could figure out who was in that battle royal.
Well, yeah, I was just confirming the your suspicions.
Uh,
I guess Robert was sick.
I'm shocked that Jim Cornette did not put himself in the battle royal.
Who would he have even like Bruiser? There was no Bruiser Bedlam on the show. Who would he have even been managing? Oh, I guess nobody.
By the way, I like that this is like, I think the Undertaker has his gray gloves here, which makes this a weird combination of gray glove
No,
Undertaker
those are
and
purple.
purple. Are they? They look gray in the lighting.
Oh, those are purple. Yeah, that's the purple gear.
Yeah. Well, I could see like the boots and like the jacket and the tie had the purple to them, but I thought the gloves looked gray to me.
Mm. I have a grayish tinge because of the lighting.
Yokozuna looks befuddled about this.
The purple gloves are confusing. Why would an Undertaker have purple gloves?
I mean, because the last time he took on Yokozuna in a casket match, he had gray gloves.
I don't want to break kayfabe here, but they've been doing this casket match on all the house shows.
Say what? Next, you're going to tell me that there's not going to be a green smoke bomb in Paul Bearer's urn that gets knocked out here.
Could be.
I gotta say, I always loved The Undertaker, but like I don't know why, but it always bugged me that everybody, you either were afraid of The Undertaker or you were afraid of caskets. and I just always that always perturbed me.
Well, I don't know. I guess I can understand people being afraid of caskets. I don't really want to be in a casket. I think I want to be cremated.
What about if you had a double deep, double wide casket like Yokozuna here?
Well, I would need one because I'm fat, but I don't know. I just don't like the idea of maggots feasting on me.
If it helps, you'll have no idea it's happening.
Remember, Ready to Rumble? I'll be dead and buried, and little worms are gonna feast on my ass. No worms are gonna feast on your ass.
I don't think I ever actually watched Ready to Rumble.
Oh my God! Quite possibly the greatest movie ever made. Love
Oh
it.
my God, there was not a smoke bomb inside the urn. Instead, it was a giant flashlight. And Paul Bearer
Uh,
blinded Yokozuna, who's now running faster than you've ever seen Yokozuna move at this point. As oh, I guess Undertaker did follow him out. I'm like, why the hell is Yokozuna running like so fast away from everything? And for someone who doesn't understand or speak English, Yokozuna sure understands English very well.
well, he's been here for a while. He's had the chance to learn.
Do you remember when after he turned babyface, he took on Owen Hart in a King of the Ring match and he lost, and then he cut a promo in English about how disappointed he was that he lost.
I don't remember that.
I'm like that was very disappointing to me as a child because he spoke perfect English.
I'm
I
very sorry that you were disappointed that Yokozuna spoke English.
turns out he was not actually Japanese.
Shocked face. Hashtag shocked Pikachu face.
Well, I mean, if it helps, I wasn't a fan when the Great Kokina was on AWA.
Well, that's your fault, isn't it?
Sure, why not? So, actually, one of the first triple threat matches ever was during the AWA Team Challenge Series. They did the Great Kokina, the Patriot, and I think Tommy Jammer. And it was an elimination gimmick. And the Patriot pinned Tommy Jammer, but they had knocked Kokina out of the ring, and he couldn't get up and get back in the ring, and so the Patriot won by countout.
Well, that's a shame. Oh, they're fighting as Undertaker just fell on the casket.
Well, I'm sure that is a very reinforced casket lid. I wanted to see Yokozuna step out on it.
I would love to see that. Would he lose if he just crashed through the lid and fell through? Because the lid would be closed and he would be in the part of him would be in the casket and the lid would be closed.
Maybe if like Undertaker punched down on him and and Yokozuna like sat down or knelt down or whatever.
That would have to be a judgment call by suicidal referee Tim White.
And you can trust the referee's decision in Montreal, whatever they end up doing.
Yeah.
So you only got rain over there?
Oh yeah, yeah, pretty much. It's I'm kind of on the south side of Houston, sort of nearer the coast than like I think other parts of the city got it. Well, I don't know because I saw stuff in downtown and there was like a water main froze over near the Galleria and exploded and has been a big problem. But I haven't seen anything of like ice or snow being here. But I don't know about all of Houston. But yeah, we missed the worst of it. Somebody. Oh, I keep getting a phone call, and I'm pretty sure it's because I missed a payment today, but I can't afford to pay it until the first, so they're just gonna have to quit calling me.
I'm sure they'll stop calling you because you don't want them to call you anymore. Um, Undertaker doing the top rope clothesline here.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, it's not like you can tombstone Yokozuna. You got to do something.
I believe he does do a very bad choke slam at some point to Yokozuna.
That sounds fucking terrible. I hope it happens here.
Well, that clothesline may be the finish because Yokozuna is being rolled towards the double deep, double wide casket.
I mean, they've gone like no time here. That can't be the finish, can it?
Well, this isn't the main event, so. Oh,
Oh, the
Fuge,
Fuji threw
Fuge the
salt in.
Stooge.
Fuji threw salt in the Undertaker's face. God damn him.
I thought they were killing time until the people from the other loop drove in to interfere.
Hmm.
What is going on at ringside?
Um, referee is arguing with somebody.
I think a fan tried to do something.
That's what it looked like. I don't know.
Or maybe it was Paul Bearer, but oh, yeah, I think it was Paul Bearer because Paul Bearer took his jacket off. So 'cause I was like, this somebody in a white shirt is violently, being needing to be held back.
Was it one of the guys from the Paul Bearer contest?
No, it was actually Paul Bearer because they just
Oh, it
showed
was
him.
Paul.
Yeah, Paul Bearer taking his jacket off.
No, I'm. Oh, it was Paul. Okay.
I like that I had to keep reiterating that it was in fact Paul Bearer, not one of the Paul Bearer lookalikes from the contest. It would have been Paul Bearer lookalikes or Paul Bearer sound alike.
Should have
I
had
can't
Paul
imagine
Bearer
it.
judge it.
You went to the bathroom, so you can't tell me about them saying "oh yes" in French.
Oh, sorry, I missed that
Oh
now.
wee! You had to oh wee yourself.
Oh, somebody, I think maybe like the WrestleCrap site posted something about Mayhem in Manchester like a week or two ago. The one thing that's burned into my brain is you remember the preview of that was on the WWF videotapes from
Yep.
1998? And it has
Hmm.
Paul Bearer looking at the camera and going, "Yes, yes, yeah, it's all over for the dead man." From the Undertaker and Kane match at Mayhem in Manchester.
Yep. That may have been the highlight of that match.
I think that was the highlight of the whole tape.
That's funny. Is like I like when I was a kid, like I bought all the tapes, but I never bought any of the UK shows for some reason. I think because I just thought they were pointless. And I'd always seen that Mayhem in Manchester tape, but I didn't buy it. And I'm so happy I did.
I think I ended up with it. I ended up in a bunch with a bunch of tapes at one point, and I think that was in there. Or I saw it at some point. The Yokozuna was winning on the Undertaker, and now Undertaker is down, and Paul Bearer is trying to revive him with the power of the urn.
Makes you think that Yokozuna did not need to have 13 guys interfere for him at Royal Rumble. He's
Well,
doing a pretty adequate job of putting down the Undertaker here.
you know what? We haven't seen what happens yet. Maybe this is the match that ruptures his confidence.
Possibly. The former two-time WWF champion.
Yeah. Oh, Taker's rallying. Oh, here we go. Big man comeback.
You think they ever sat around discussing who had a worse first title reign?
That would be a very interesting conversation between those two in particular, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
At least Taker
I
got
mean,
to have it for a few days.
yeah, but I mean, Yokozuna got to do it in the main event of WrestleMania.
Wasn't Yokozuna part of the Undertaker's, what was it, the Bone Street crew?
Yep.
They probably had that conversation many times.
Meanwhile, Henry Godwin, Savio Vega, and whoever else was in there were probably like, we just like to have the belt once.
I'm sure they would have. Sure they would have been overjoyed.
Yeah, we'll lose to Hogan. I think Fatu was in there too. Do you remember?
To what
Do you remember? Hmm?
wasn't Rikishi like Hogan's first opponent in 2002, like on house shows?
Probably.
I believe that is
Do you,
true.
do you remember Make a Difference Fatu?
I have heard of it. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of like mid '90s WWF, so I haven't seen very much. I'm sure I've seen them once or twice, but it didn't make an impression. But I've
Oh
heard.
my God. Yokozuna is about to win another casket match against The Undertaker. Oh, no, he's not.
Oh no! Why did I look up Hulk Hogan on Cage Match? What was I going to look at?
Because you wanted to see if his first run of house show matches in 2002 was against
Oh,
Rikishi.
that's right. That's right. Thank you.
When Trey drinks, he has the memory of Arya.
It's true. Yeah, he wrestled Rikishi at a house show in Tampa, Florida on March 1st, 2002.
And I'm sure
Big
Rikishi
Taker
went over too.
clothesline. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you know it. I always like that big Taker flying clothesline.
And there is our shitty Undertaker choke slam on Yokozuna.
There you go. It was true. It's like you said.
You should go for the tombstone.
It was like a choke slam from a guy who's not big enough to do a choke slam like the Dirty White Boy does.
Hey, everybody feel it down.
Are you trying to? You not remember the lyrics for Dirty White Boy?
It's not important. I'm just a
Hey,
dirty white
baby, if you're
boy.
feeling down, I know what's good for you all day. Undertaker just won the match.
Yes, he did. So now they're tied, one win apiece. So they obviously need to go to Survivor Series to
Yeah.
determine the true king of the casket match.
Canonically, as far as we know, that is true.
Yep. Did you ever see the Undertaker? He buried them alive VHS tape. They just put it up on the
Yes.
Vault channel. Uh, but
But
it has a casket match tape for Coliseum Video between the Undertaker and Jerry Lawler.
they released that for some reason. They released that as a DVD in the early 2000s, and it was in the $5 bin at Walmart.
They've done a couple of those. It was like the history of the Intercontinental title, I think, was one.
Yeah.
I think
Shawn Michaels' boyhood dream.
yep.
Oh,
I think
Paul Bearer just ejaculated sunlight out of the urn.
they're gonna say he farted, which is why all those explosions came out of the ring post. So the Undertaker is a winner here in Montreal, and he did not wrestle at Survivor Series '97.
Oh yeah, he didn't he? It was
Yeah.
Kane and Mankind.
Yep. Which is it's always funny because even like at that point, like we get educated like in the next year or so after that point where it's like if you're not on every show or almost every show, then you're a nobody. Whereas like until like 97 at least, like it was not uncommon for like stars to skip pay-per-views. Like especially watch WCW. Like how many people in WCW were on every pay-per-view in 1997? Like probably Scott Hall.
Oh, it's
And
happening.
we are
Somebody is attacking somebody.
I,
Who is
I
that?
believe this is Jacques and Pierre. I believe it's Johnny Polo that's being ripped away, maybe. Because I'm pretty confident that's Pierre stomping on what I'm pretty sure is Jacques.
That can't have been Johnny Polo. He had very short hair.
Possibly. But I'm not sure who else it would be though. That's the problem.
What? Who is that?
Maybe it's Ramon.
Oh, it's Raymond. It's Raymond.
Yeah. Yeah. He was trying to help his brother.
I would recognize that mustache anywhere.
Uh,
Okay, they started
I,
hot and the crowd is into it, and so far this is awesome.
yes. I believe this is when Ramon was a WWF announcer.
Yeah, he was a French announcer for a long time, wasn't
Oui, oui.
he?
And
Oui.
there was a period of time where the Quebecers go to WCW as the amazing French Canadians,
Mm-hmm.
and so the WWF brings out Jacques Senior and Ramon as the French announce team on pay-per-views.
By the way, Johnny Polo is out there, so I guess it's Jock with Raymond against Carl with Johnny Polo.
Well, Pierre with Johnny Polo.
Well, look, he's PCO to me.
You
No,
look like a child.
He was Carl
Nope,
Ouellet as the
nope.
was he?
He was
Okay.
Quebecer Pierre,
Oh, you're
and
right.
then he was
But I
Jean
think,
Pierre Lafitte,
but
and
didn't
then when he
I
goes
don't
to
know.
WCW, he's Carl Ouellet.
I think he might have been billed as Carl Ouellet here, though, or at least that's what the thing said. It is Montreal.
Don't believe the thing.
Well, we didn't see because we just skipped right to the hot start, so we didn't see the entrances or anything, which is a shame.
Indeed. I'm going to bet, and I know you were in the bathroom when I talked about this. We're probably not going to get an hour-long Jacques Rougeau retirement after this, a la the Hiroshi Tanahashi ceremony.
Didn't didn't Johnny Polo start as Raven in like January?
Of 95, yeah.
Yeah, so we're very short time from Raven here.
He's thinking about that time that uh you know Dreamer wouldn't sleep with Beulah because she was fat at summer camp.
Because that's what kids do at summer camp. Yes,
I mean, kids are mean. Like,
they sure are very mean kids.
I always thought that those two hooked up like during the ECW run. And maybe they did, but Dreamer ended up with Francine there for a while, before he ended up marrying Beulah.
Like for a shoot, he was the Francine.
Yeah,
Weird.
yeah.
Francine, by the way, the one notable product of the first ECW Wrestling Academy before the whatever, what did Taz call it, the School of Hardcore or whatever the
The
fuck.
House of Heart, the House of Hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, uh, when Paulie was like he didn't want good wrestlers, he wanted people to respect the business. He did not get a good wrestler when Francine paid her $1,400 or whatever that was.
She was there for like the whole time, though, at least. Whatever.
I mean, I think the only time she ever wrestled was when they did those mixed tags with Shane and Francine versus Dreamer and Beulah.
I remember one of those was on one of those ECW tapes.
Yep. And the finish was Shane Douglas giving Beulah the belly to belly for the win.
Yeah, that's right.
That was on the same show as the Raven Sandman barbed wire match.
Oh, yeah, you're
So,
right.
see, I know my ECW history.
Wow.
This is so weird because it's like PCO is in like a black singlet but with red legs, almost basically like a red and black version of Bret Hart.
Kinda, yeah. Jock is
And
in blue short tights with fleur de lis on them.
it's similar to the Fabulous Rougeau brother gear, but it's more royal blue than the Fabulous Rougeaus would wear.
It's I'm pretty sure it's the colors of the Quebec flag.
I'm positive of that. Um, Now maybe it's because I mean I've seen PCO wrestle in TNA semi recently, and he puts on a few pounds. But like he's pretty darn close to skinny right here. Like, I wouldn't say skinny, but like I believe he bulks up a bit to be Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
Uh,
Maybe
he
not.
got wide
Maybe
shoulders. He look. He's been eating his red meat and lifting his dumbbells here. It looks like.
yeah. So this has been a fun little house show. I know we talk as we always do. We just talk through it and randomly stop to marvel over the finish or something. But it's like this has been a fun little house show.
Yeah, absolutely. This was fun. Vader
Vader
bomb.
bomb. One, two, and nope, Jacques kicked out. He really looks like Raven there. And I know it's like it's Johnny Polo, it's Raven, but it's like he really looked like Raven right there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so when did he get fired? It had to be. It's in the next couple of months, obviously. Oh, fucking Pierre just did a cannonball over the top rope floor and took out Jock.
I don't know if he actually got fired per se, as much as he like I believe the story was he wanted to wrestle and Vince wanted him to continue to manage slash be an announcer. And so it was like the well, let's shake hands, apart friends kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do like the story. I think Raven told this on not the Hardcore Homecoming, the Jeremy Borash version of the
For
Rise and
forever
Fall of
hardcore,
ECW.
forever
Yes.
hardcore.
Um, he forgot his start date because he was so fucked up on drugs. And so he showed up at the ECW arena to one show too early. And he was worried about that he was showing up late, that he was going to get fired. And Paul saw him and was like, oh, your start date's not till next month. I was like, oh, yeah, I just wanted to come down and see everybody, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, there you go. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Good deflection.
Of course, like, especially when somebody you know, is well known to be a hardcore drug user like Raven was, and is also a great storyteller. You do wonder how much of that was actually true, but it makes for a good story.
Raven was on with Chris Van Vliet here just recently, last couple of weeks, and that was a very good interview. Did you listen to that?
Honestly, I never watched the full Chris Van Vliet things. Like when the clips come up, if it's something that looks interesting, I'll listen to it.
See, I don't listen to it all the time, but like I don't know if I see a bunch of clips and they're interesting, I want to go listen to the whole version. So like I
Mhm.
listened to Raven, I listened to Brian Danielson recently, and then I remember a few months ago I listened to Steve Blackman because that was fascinating.
I hate to say this, but the one person I've stopped listening to is Stevie Richards.
Yeah, he was interesting at first, and then he got too into the stuff, the community, and he's been pretty intolerable since. Like, look, oh, PCO just hit the fucking Senton
Senton Atomica.
Atomica.
Yeah.
It's like I don't need to listen to anybody else bitch about Dave Meltzer.
Hey, that too. Yeah. It's like great, wonderful. You don't like Dave. Moving on with our lives. What are your thoughts on anything else?
Yeah.
Well, Dave
Again,
likes this. Dave doesn't like this. Like,
I
hey,
was
and
always a
like,
big fan of Stevie Richards as a wrestler, but he
I
needs to
like
shut the fuck up.
that RF video shoot of Stevie from like 2011 is legit a great shoot interview. Strongly recommend it. It was after his TNA run. But and that's why I was excited when he started doing this YouTube stuff because I'm like, oh man, he's got a lot of great stories, but you can only go so long, I guess, with that. Now it has to become the Stevie talks about modern day wrestling thing, and I don't care enough to listen to anybody talk about modern day wrestling. I don't want to hear myself talk about modern day wrestling for the most part. Um,
I fucking hate like I don't I love modern wrestling and in my companies that I watch, I don't want to fucking hear anybody talk about it.
yeah. And it's like what I said, I don't listen to Dave for the same reason I don't listen to Cornette talk about AEW. I don't need to tell. I don't need to say what episode I'm talking about. Here's the podcast. Dave likes AEW. Jim Cornette doesn't like AEW. Moving on with our lives.
It's like I don't know. I can watch stuff and form my own opinions. I want to
Exactly.
I want to hear people talk about history and psychology and interesting
Yep.
stuff.
And Dave and Brian arguing isn't interesting, you know,
It's sure
because
not.
Brian's been pushing back lately. But it's like, to me, also listening to it wasn't even just, oh, Dave likes it and Jim Cornette doesn't. It was the Dave likes it and doesn't understand how you can't like it and will say that. And Jim Cornette hates it and will not understand why you don't hate it. And that's his thing. And it's like, okay, well, I know what they're both going to say, so I just saved 2 hours of my life.
I understand why people don't like it, but I like it for the most part.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, maybe I should have actually listened to Dave instead of just reading what he said. But everyone got up in arms that he buried Dominic Mysterio. I'm like, he did not bury Dominic
Oh,
Mysterio. He just said Dominic Mysterio wasn't the wrestler of the year.
Jock with an Alabama slam.
Well, Bob Holly was on this show, so that's obviously how he knew how to do that move.
He probably saw it.
Even though Bob Holly did not do that move, and I don't think does that move ever until 1999.
I
But
don't remember him doing it until like 2000, but yeah. I liked the spot that he would do where he would like lift somebody on the top rope and kick him in the balls.
Jacques or Bob Holly?
Bob Holly.
Okay. I thought you were say you liked the spot, the cannonball spot that the Quebecers used to do, where he would basically press Pierre off the top rope into a senton atomico.
Well, hey, that's good
And
too.
by the way, I know this is the WWF, but we've been watching so much fucking classic wrestling that when Jock just threw Pierre over the top rope, I'm like, is that a fucking disqualification?
Uh, fucking terrible rule. I hate that shit so much.
I only hate it because it would be constantly ignored, except for the one match to show that they'd have the over the top rope DQ. Like, if it's going to be a rule, then have it just be a rule. Over the top rope is a DQ. But it's like, then on the same show, it happened 5 other times, and the announcers looked like dumbasses because why isn't this a DQ?
It was
And Jesse
literally only
Ventura,
a ploy to do fuck finishes.
well, especially in '94, Jesse Ventura's in the I don't give a fuck part of his career. And it's like he would make Shivani look like a complete and total ass because people would be going over the top rope constantly. And he'd be like, well, why is that not a DQ, Tony? Why is that one not a DQ? And he'd get on Tony until Shivani tried to come up with a reason.
It was so stupid. So stupid.
We we
Indefensible.
we talked about this on the Smoky Mountain show, but it was a combination of Bobby Heenan coming in and Jesse winning that lawsuit against Vince that Jesse stopped giving a single fuck. Eh, oh, we got a ref bump here in Jock's retirement match. Are we gonna get a fuck finish here?
Oh dear.
Pierre threw Jacques off the middle rope, and Jacques went flying into the referee. But by the way, if you ever want to see Jesse really at his I don't give a fuck highest, watch Bash at the Beach '94 because when he came out to do 2 or 3 matches, Shivani's like, "So who do you think is going to win, Hogan versus Flair?" And obviously setting him up to have a discussion, and Jesse's like, "Flair," and wouldn't say anything else.
Oh, we got Raymond coming in to beat up and interfering Johnny Polo. That was why we did the ref bump so we could have the spot for Ramon to make a comeback.
Super kicking Ray Rougeau. Is there a way that we could turn that move name into something with an R? Roundhouse kick Ray Rougeau, but it wasn't a roundhouse kick.
I don't know how you say super kick in French.
Super kick in French.
Very clever.
Thank you.
Wow, Jock kicked out. He has not yet lost his retirement match.
I am gobsmacked that Jacques did not lose his retirement match. How long did his retirement last anyway? I was like I said, he's back. He's in WCW in '96, but I'm gonna bet this is not the um this is more or less a Terry Funk retirement. I'm gonna bet.
You know what? I've got Cage Match open. Let me look up the Mountie if I can spell it. I bet I'd have an
I'm
easier
actually
time
I'm
spelling the
actually
Mountie
a,
than Jacques
a,
Rougeau.
actually he does not wrestle again until September of '96 when he shows up on
Oh,
Nitro as the
well,
Amazing French
how
Canadians.
about that?
And then
Remember they
after
were
that
in.
match, to help you out with that, after that match, he only has 100 other matches in his career.
You remember when they were in the WWF for like 5 minutes in '98?
I do. They had a heel versus heel match at No Way Out of Texas against the Godwins.
I remember that. That's probably the only match that I've seen from that run.
Yeah. I just remember they were in the blue tights. Um, yeah. I remember they were in WCW, they were managed by Colonel Robert Parker doing the French Colonel gimmick.
You know what? I got to tell you, because I've suffered from my issues. It's very silly, but sometimes the only thing that keeps me going is that mantra that never gonna do the Von Erich thing.
Thank you to Robert Fuller.
Thank you.
It's funny when Jock went to WCW in 2000, he said that he wasn't coming in to be a jobber, and then he quit because the very next day, Russo booked him to lose a match. Um, and but I'm like reading the results of that WWF run, and they rarely won. Uh,
I mean, yeah. Oh, Carl got it. Oh, he turned it over. Jock turned it over. 1-2. Oh, this
they
is
reversed
a
a bad small package into a bad small package for the near fall.
this is a good match, and I know the inside cradle wasn't like technically sound, but I don't give a fuck about shit looking good as long as it looks like fucking wrestling.
Ryan Danielson would not have approved of that small package.
Neither would Hiroshi Tanahashi, but you know what? This is a very good match.
It is. And I'm going to bet just looking at the time on the bottom of the screen, we're going to the finish. I was a
I
little
like this.
surprised that Ray Rougeau run in didn't lead to the finish, but
I like the spit on his hand before he went for the vertical suplex, and that was a great DDT by PCO right there.
that was a Jacques thing that he would spit on his hand to you know I don't say psych himself up, but like I'm putting in a little bit of extra effort here with the spit on my hands and
That's just fucking wrestling. That's just good pro wrestling. That's good shit right there.
yeah. Now Armand was a brother, right?
Armand, I have no idea. Is there an Armand Rougeau?
Yeah. I only asked because I left up the cage match of Jacques Rougeau, and the thing I'm staring at off screen is Armand Rougeau and the Rougeau brothers. I'm like, wasn't
Ah,
Armand a brother?
well, he
I
wasn't
guess.
a part of the tag team, the Rougeau brothers. By the way,
By the way,
Jock
but
just reversed a tombstone into a tombstone.
Jacques, by the way, trying to break Pierre's neck, I guess.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's a Canadian thing. You do a tombstone if you're a Canadian. You sit on your ass instead of drop to your knees.
Oh god, that Godwin's Quebecers match from No Way Out of Texas, which was at the
Houston
in
at
Houston.
a church, and he
Oh,
won with
Jock
that
won.
sit
That
out
was the
tombstone.
finish. Okay.
Someone finally won with a sit out tombstone. And
That Godwin's and Quebecers match, negative 1.25 star from Uncle Dave.
I'm shocked that was it. And now we're getting the hour-long retirement ceremony that's been cut down to about 90 seconds. And Jacques, I'm assuming
There's
he's leading
Pat
them in O Canada.
Patterson. There's I can't see any faces.
Come on, Pierre. Code of Honor. You're a future Ring of Honor champion.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like that PCO was Ring of Honor champion for a minute.
It really was. Didn't he beat Roosh and then lose it back to
Yeah,
Roosh.
he beat Roosh and lost it back to Roosh. That is correct.
And there was no interference by Leo Roosh either.
I'm so mad that Tony Khan has never given us Roosh versus Rush.
There we go. Oh, come on, people. Move
Yay!
the fuck out of the way. You know,
Fucking Raymond, get out of the way. They're reserving the coat on. You and your mustache. Very, very sexy mustache on Raymond Rougeau.
Jacques Sr., you know, do they not know where the hard cam is? But yeah, so that's bringing us to the end of that show.
Well, that was an
Ah,
entertaining way to spend a day, a few hours, right?
indeed. I don't even know what I would have been doing otherwise without this. I think I would have been watching Mid South and World Class. So, but
Yeah, that's what I should have
just
been
look at
doing. But hey, this was fun. This
it.
spending
It
spending some
was
time with the listener.
exactly, and yeah, we're probably not going to drop this until Friday, and we'll see how much the WWE likes me this time if I've got to go through a copyright issue again. But
Why they want to be buttheads? We just want to do. We're just talking shit. If you listen to this, you wouldn't get like nobody's gonna listen to this. This is dumb. I'm so drunk.
well, Trey, you got about 26 hours to sober up before we do Mid South. Um, so that's going to do it for this show, this episode of the Friday Night Spot Show. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you again 3 days ago.
Bye. I love you.